Happy Friday, everyone. It is another day for Web Launch Academy's fun teaching. I'm a little bit tired. Okay. Let me see. All right, I gotta get this going here. All right, so the portal is working, just so everyone is aware. So you can sign in like so. You go into collaboration, or not the portal, it's the video in the portal. Go into group, join group coaching session, and I will be in there, okay? I already have that set up on my end. So if you want to join in there, you can do so. I'm also on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, and yeah, come join me. Join us. All right, so what are we doing today? We are, let's go back into Airtable, because that's where some of our information resides. So I'm just opening that now. Computer's a little bit, whoa, my goodness, slow. Yeah, I gotta get that out of here. Okay. That's better. Oh man, funny mistakes I make in this. Okay, so we're in this Ramsey Coach free consultations table. That's what our table is. And right now, obviously I'm coding in my own thing. So now we're going to move to our other project. Open, I think open folder is right. Select our select the correct little thing there. Select our correct project. I forgot to update. I think I'll actually update now since everything restarted anyway. I don't know why it doesn't automatically update. Just going to do that. That's good practice. Keep your updates current. I had that update notification yesterday and I didn't do anything about it, so. Volume's working, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm actually gonna check the chat at this point. If anybody has anything to say, go into that portal, go into group coaching. I will be checking the chats there. I won't really be checking the chats in YouTube, Rumble, or Twitch. Maybe at the end, but that's where to ask questions is in the portal. Because if you're in the portal, I know you're a signed up, registered person, not some bot, and I know you are there to learn. So I will be checking that every once in a while. I'll try to remember. I tend to forget those things, so no promises. Anyway, let's get started. So you remember the environment variables. So this is how we connect our testimonials and our, we're able to get our client form data and pull that in. So what we do is we just make sure this is exactly the same. So we're not just gonna, write in free consultations. We're actually gonna change the name. So let me do that again. So we're actually gonna click on here, left click, rename table, as if we're gonna rename, but we're not going to rename. We're just going to go in here so that we can copy directly, because we don't want any errors. We don't want anything that's different. And then we paste, okay? So we paste it onto one of these. All right, and I will do that in the actual environments variable table. So what you do is you just basically copy this thing, right? You just highlight it without this little tag here. If you copy this tag, it's going to be commented out. So what that means is that if you have anything commented, it's not going to run, and it'll give you, it'll even be a different color. So if you have prettier installed as your extension, that is here. Go to extensions, you should have prettier, right? Prettier. And what it does is it makes everything bright and shiny. Okay, it makes everything different colors. So make sure that you don't copy the whole thing. Okay, only copy this part without this little tag here. You copy this and you put it into here. Okay, I'm not going to click there because I'm not going to show my actual environment variables. But it's okay to show this one. This one's okay. It's just a table name. It's not one of those keys that are generated with all those crazy letters and characters and numbers and all that stuff. So some of these are okay to show. In fact, I think even this one's okay to show. When it says public, it's usually being shown anyway, but I'm not going to show anything. I'm not going to show any of this because there's just no need. Okay. So now that we have that set up, what we want to do is, I think we can even just test this out. So that's been changed. Oh, hold on. I want to make sure my local has been changed. Or my environment local. And I don't want to do what I did last time, which is Control S, which is the way to save think it's saved, but I'm not sure. Really not sure. Can I comment? Let me change something really quick. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess up like the video. So let me make sure that my hotkeys aren't set to anything. Yeah, let's not do that. Because what I did was I have a hotkey in my video to be Control+S as well, and so when I hit Control+S to save, it also switched the scene. So that wasn't good. So let me just do a different. There we go. Okay, let's just do that. And now I'm going to make sure that nothing is wrong. Make sure the video is still intact. Okay, good. Everything is looking good. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to have that happen again. Okay. So now I just showed my environment variables there. Okay, so if you, this is actually a good lesson. So I accidentally just did that. So if you accidentally share your environment variables, you can actually go in here, go into Builder Hub, and reset them. So I'm going to show you that really quick. Yeah. So what we do here, I think I can show you this screen. It just kind of shows like these aren't like the full tokens. So it just, what you do is you regenerate token. Boom. So that's the finance token. And this isn't even the full token. You actually have to go further. So now you can go back into the environments variable table and paste that in. All right, so now it's the updated environments variable. And so now we should be able to run this, and hopefully things will be oh, hold on. One thing that we got to do, we got to make sure that Claude knows our actual table setup. So yeah, so this is what you're going to want to do. forgot about this. So you need to make sure, we need to make sure our tables are all mapped correctly. So what I'm going to do for right now is actually get rid of all the fields except for one. Delete, just to make sure I can get this to work. That's fine. Delete all the fields except for name. Okay. And this is a good way to test. So you just do one thing at a time. You say, I only have one field in my free consultations table. And you want to make sure it's totally correct. Name. It's not lowercase, right? It's uppercase. And you can even do this, you can even do the same thing that I did with the table name. You can do this to the field name too. I don't know why it calls it field. Should be column name. But I guess field's fine too, as long as you use it consistently. So you click on here, left click. I gotta remember to put my control button on there. Edit field. This is, by the way, if you ever need to change your field type, this is it. This is your field type. This is the name, okay? So you can, so to make sure it's completely consistent, you can always copy from here and just save that. Then you go back here, and then you can, you know, paste each of the table names in here so that there are no problems. Make sure the client's data that I get corresponds to that. Make the rest of the fields in the form, in the contact form, not required, but keep them in the form. So that will just make sure, like, you don't have to add that stuff in the form. This is for testing to make sure the field, let's see, the field names, or the, not really the field names, to make sure the Airtable data is connected through the environments variable. Yeah, can you map that data so I can test? So hopefully Claude will figure that out. I think it will. And we'll just, you know, start the test right now. So we do our npm run dev to test. Let me make sure. Is anybody commenting? Okay. So we open in browser. Get this going over here. Testing environment can take a little while to load, so nothing to worry about. That's not actually how your code is going to run. So we don't have this set up yet. We will have the consultations set up later. But for right now, we just want to make sure our environment variables are all set. So like everything is, not everything, but some of the things are connected. So we do contact. Let's make sure Claude is, oh, okay, so it has to edit. So that's the changes it's making. Sure. We will approve. So here's a console.error, right? Error submitting form. Set submit message type error, text failed to send message. Please try again. So we'll be able to see that when we open the console if there's an error. And it can also put in console.logs to return success. So if there's a success or if there's just data being sent correctly, we'll be able to see that too. It just kind of like, it's a way to see what's going on in the back end while we're testing. So it removed these required things, right? And now it's just email address up here. I wonder where like the, anyway. Yeah, removed required. Okay, so subject. If we can get this working, we're in good shape. And then we can start setting up everything. Visual Studio's code. So it's creating another console.error. Free consultations. Okay. Yeah. So that's the correct name, free consultations. I should actually make sure that it doesn't show the environment the environment variables. I don't think it will, because I did everything in there. and it won't hard code it won't hard code your values, your environment variable values. It will put in, like, instead of doing the full like key in any of your code, it'll actually just put the name. And whatever that name is, whatever like the value that name holds, it will go into your code. So yeah, it's just putting in the examples. But yeah, it's always tricky. Like, I'm gonna make a note to not to not show the environment.local, or to not ever change it and just give me the instructions, because yeah, I don't think it does actually. I think it, I don't know, but it's just good practice to. Okay. Yeah, so this is what it usually says. Like, it usually says your API token, like your base ID. And the reason why it even has an environments example is that it puts it in here, and then you can do, you can do the other stuff in here. At least I think. I think I could even, you can even probably put that in settings, in the Claude settings. So wherever that is, should be somewhere. I might have to create a settings actually for that. Yeah, you should actually create settings for, if you want Claude to always do a particular action, and you don't have to keep, and you don't want to keep saying, to do something every session, then you want to make a file. I'm going to do that now. A file for Claude to always, or to not always, to never show the, or never edit env.local on screen. I'm doing a video, a live video stream, and I don't want my variables exposed. Let me see if it does this correctly. Configuration, yeah. Claude code documentation. So I guess it has to like figure out how to do that. HTTPS, yeah, I think it must be like, Yeah, .claude. So this is what you should have. I was looking for that file and I didn't see it. So it's got to create that. And you can do that for anything. It's not just for like, not showing certain things. It's for all kinds of different, all kinds of different reasons where you'll want to put certain settings in Claude. Certain development settings. Like if you're just like, hey, always check Airtable mappings or whatever, for it to just always do that as a default. That's what you want. So permission deny configuration makes these files completely inaccessible. You're all set. Okay, so that's what it does. Settings.json. So now we have this little setting here. Read, edit, write. It doesn't have any of these permissions. So read, edit, write. Okay. So now we close that. And all right, now let's see if this works. So send. Oh, I see. So it's got to have both. Okay. And let's see in the console. We get a 404. Oh, there I am though. So it just collected that data correctly. So that's a big moment. So now you know that you can always collect data from here to here. I don't know what this is. Failed to load resource. Oh, it's probably because there's not, yeah, there's the, it's trying to load the testimonial data, of course. So we don't have testimonials set up yet. But because this is working, we can set that up. So now, here's the thing. So what we have to do to make sure our full contact form works, because we don't want just name, right? We want all of that stuff. We want all of that to work, right? We want email address, phone number, subject, message. Okay, so we have to make sure all of these things are in here. So email, phone, subject, message. So we add those here. And for email, we want single line text. I don't think there's a format for email, although there might be. Actually, there is. Okay, yeah, that makes sense because email has to be in a certain format. Okay, and then you can just write, you can just say it's email. You can just name it email. Okay, so you create field and you just keep doing that for all of these. Email. So we're putting in our type first, so you can search for your type. Phone. So phone number is in a particular format, so it's field type phone number, and you just do phone. And you can add like different things. You can add like cell phone or whatever, but for right now, just phone is fine. And then I believe we had subject, right? So that's a single line text. That means it's any kind of text, it's any kind of character. there's not like title, right? There's not subject type because it doesn't need to be. It's just single line text. Okay, so you select that. You do subject. We'll name it subject. And then, was there some field I was missing? Email address, phone, subject message. Nope. Message or notes is fine. We'll just go with message. Keep it all totally consistent. Oops. This is not single line text. This would be long text because it's not. It might be a longer, message. So, and always remember when you click these, you're going to fill in the field type first. When I first was like doing Airtable, I was like, trying to put in the name of the field first rather than the type. So it goes type first, then the name. Just so you're aware of that. So now we go message, subject, phone, email. And we put that into Claude. Let's do it in order. Email, phone, subject, message to the field names in Airtable. Now connect, let's see, map those exact names and make email required. Let's see, I guess email and message required because, no, actually just email. Because they can give you the email and you can contact them. I don't know who would do that. Usually if they try to contact you, they'll probably add some message into it. But what we can do, so here's the other thing, what we can do too is like add a warning when they press send and say you didn't put in a subject. Are you sure you want to continue? And they can either bypass that, say yeah I want to continue, or they might say, oh yeah, I didn't add a subject in and that was kind of dumb, so I'll do that now. So now you want to go through and actually, like, you want to think through what could my potential client do that is an error, that could result in an error, or something that diminishes the user experience, or something that really makes my client think, wow, they thought of everything. They made sure their website worked. So you have to think about those things. And so that's why you want to think through, like, what if they, go into this contact form and they don't write a message, right? They just think like, email, good. What are they thinking there? Maybe they're distracted or whatever, and they don't think, oh, I got to actually fill out this thing. So we make edits. And we can see the edits done here. Right, we can go in here, see the edits, open changes. So if you ever want to open the changes, you do that. I'm going to be right back. So we already got our most of our stuff working. Our Airtable stuff working. Now it's just adding this stuff. So I'm going to be right back. All right, sorry about that. PS virtual. Okay, I should actually check to see if anybody has commented. No questions. Okay, good. All right, so we'll continue. Get diagnostics. Language diagnostics. I don't know what it's doing there. One diagnostic issue in one file. I don't know. I don't know if it's like catching errors or something beforehand. TypeScripts are resolved. Okay. All right, so let's see if everything works. So I really gotta like, I have to, I should really manage this because like all of my personal contact information is just being displayed everywhere. Ah, whatever. I'm not afraid. Come get me. I'm not afraid of anybody. This is my like spam email, so that's fine. Hello. Testing. Okay. Let's see if it'll send another one. Message sent successfully. We'll see you soon. So now we go in here. Yep, everything's sent. So everything can send. So what I want to do, I don't know if you'd want to do this. So this is by the way, this is a bad table name. I just realized it's a very bad table name. Because this is not our free consultations form. This is our contact form. They're not looking for a free consultation here. So you'd want to change that. By the way, I'm gonna actually make. I'm gonna make. I'm gonna do something on purpose. I'm gonna make an error on purpose. Okay, so let's say you change. Let's say we just change just one little character, right? Instead of uppercase, it's lowercase. What do you think happens? Go through our console.logs too, see what's going on. See what's going on in there when we send the message. Error. Failed to submit form. All right, And so you get one little character wrong, one little capitalization wrong, and it gives you an error. That's how touchy this thing is. So you got to make sure you get all of it right. And the tricky part about this is it didn't tell you which name was wrong. It just said there's an error somewhere. And it can't really detect which thing is wrong. And so you have to make sure that all of that is good. It's all consistent. Okay, so the other thing is, notice how Airtable, you can update it in real time. So I updated this name. It immediately updated so that the website, when it sent data, it went to this, it mapped directly onto these field names. So what that means is if you have any data that is being sent in real time, it will update your website in real time. So, and you can make that happen. You can check to make sure, like, when you reload the page, it will, update. So, something to note there. So whatever is done in here is also done in the website. And, to add more tables, you just add tables. So you got to click this button, not this, add or import. So you add table. We'll do start from scratch. Yeah, I don't ever build with Omni. I always start from scratch. Oops, contact, not concact. Contact. It's been a long week. I can't spell. So this is actually what the free consultations table should be called. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, no, I'm going to change this table name to contacts. And change that. And that means I also have to change the environments variable table name. Remember? So remember that we added this table name in there. So I'm going to have to do that manually. And name it contacts, right? So in C, don't worry, I made it .example. Okay, not making that mistake again. So it shows you like all of these, and you should probably copy these into here. And remember, erase that little tag because that will comment it out. Anything that is commented out does not run as actual code. Okay. So you should, whenever it gives you example environment variables, you should strongly consider adding them in there because more than likely you're going to need them. Now, not all the time. Sometimes it's like it just gives you a bunch of examples, and you don't really have to put those in. But, you know, strongly consider. So, you know, what you want to do is more than likely create free consultations in your Airtable, testimonials. I don't really know if availability is necessary, and you can even ask Claude, why would I include an availability table? Because here's the thing, you can just put status, you can put a field, you can add a field name, and that'll be in free consultations. Availability must be something else. But you can add status. Wait. Oh, it's single select. Yeah, single select. Anyways, it's 8 o'clock, but you can add a single select in here. I'm just going to show you this really quick before I end. Hold on, I'm going to turn off my alarm. It's buzzing in my pocket. It's buzzing in my pocket. And you can put, so status. So again, that's the field type, that's the name. And this is a cool, when you have a field type that is single select, what you do is you add options. And so that can be, you know, if this is your leads table, this is probably not great for contacts table, but, you know, for your leads, you say like pending, and you can, you know, you can put as a default that like, hey, this is a pending lead. And you can also say, yeah, I emailed them, or I sent them an automated email. You might even say, well, it's not just pending, it's you know, I emailed them, you know, emailed, automatically emailed, right? Again, these names have to be mapped correctly as well. So there's a lot you can do with Airtable, and I might do like an Airtable mastery course later, but for now it's just important to know like the names have to map on exactly, right? Has to be capitalized, any dashes in there, any of that stuff. Absolutely mapped 100% correctly. If not, you'll get an error, and you won't even know where it's coming from. If you just have one field name that's off, or one field type that's off, you won't know what happened. So that's it. Have a good weekend. Let me pray in closing. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you that we could learn how to create websites, and hope I just pray that everyone gets something out of this. And just help us all to have a fun weekend, or a good weekend, I guess. Mine's going to be busy. All right, in your name I pray, amen. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you for stopping in. See you later.